Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Big round. Give a big round. Give a big.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the parents' lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the parents' lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome to the first parents' lounge of 2024. That sounds weird, right, guys?
It does, yeah.
2024. Hey, thank you for joining us. We got a great audience already. I'm Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan, Justin Ruppel, and our special guest tonight, probably the smartest parent in the room, but that's because she's the mom. She's already shaking her head. She's one of our faves. She's been here a million times. Kira Soltanovich is joining us. Thank you for joining us, Kira.
Thank you for having me. I ran like a lunatic to hide in my bathroom and be with
I was
you.
going to say, it looks like your panic room. That's very nice.
It is. This is where I panic. I'm in my
You got
bathroom.
you do a little Jodie Foster going on right now, and it's got a Fincher. Honestly, your lighting's very Fincher-esque. So yeah, I'm feeling very panic room.
I don't know how to fix it. I don't know. I'm sitting on a pile of dirty laundry. This is the best I can do. Sorry, guys.
Honestly,
I think it captures parenting in every way.
What was that witch movie? The one where they were all like with the Steadicam?
Blair Witch.
Thank you.
Blair Witch.
This is a kid witch. This is a mother's like, they're outside.
They're outside the bathroom. There's snot coming down my nose. They're here.
And Jason, by the way, is under his house, as you can see.
Yeah, what's happening with Jason?
Are you locked in?
I don't know what's happening with the lighting. It usually works, and today it looks like I am in a small cave hibernating for the winter with the other bears.
It looks like portrait mode when you start scrolling all the way over, and finally it just
all
blacks
the way
everything
to
out.
the last one is all black. Yeah,
it's all black.
It's actually very fashionable. My first headshot looked a lot like that, Jason.
Yeah,
like
all
black. That's what I've ever strived to be.
That was 1979. That was a good year for you too.
Oh my God, Kaler's first headshot was a pencil sketch.
No, it was a tintype.
It was the powder flash? What was that camera with the powder
flash? That's a tintype.
Oh,
But honestly, my first one was a cave drawing. It was it's in France. It's in the south of France. It's in a cave, and it's like 3,000 years old. And honestly, I still use it sometimes.
What?
If you're trying to make me as a Jew nervous with your mustache, it's working. Kaler.
I was asking it the same question. What is happening?
So did you not? I posted a photo. Did you guys see the photo I posted the other day?
Clearly not.
All right. So my wife, we put together classic Hollywood was the theme.
That one. I thought that was a pencil.
We were classic theme Hollywood. That was our. This is if you're
I
listening.
thought there was a Vincent Price biopic you were going for.
I am. So here's what's happened. I know, right? So I decided to keep it. Because you never know what happens if somebody calls and goes, would you like to play as a German POW commandant? And I would be like, yes. As a matter of fact, I have the mustache ready. It's going to come off, obviously. Jamie, before we continue, I need to explain the stash. That's what we're talking, Freddie. Yes, we're talking stash.
Freddie, that's what we all
it's funny because I forgot I had it. And then today I was out shopping and people were looking at me like, hey, when the time comes, can we get in your bunker? That's what a lot of people were asking me. I gave them directions I said, go to Boise take a right turn. You'll see the compound. And
I'm actually in the bunker right now. Actually,
I think you look more like you make a really, really great independent filmmaker. You know.
Oh, it's a little John Watersy. Yeah.
Yeah, you look like more of a straight Waters.
But still,
it's not a crooked river; it's a straight river, is what you're saying.
Right.
No,
exactly.
Kira's already lost in the bathroom. Anyone out there who's watching, please tell me what I look like, if you would, please. I would love that very much. I love narcolepsy. He's from the Overlook Hotel.
Well, here's what's so interesting. Just the other day, I shaved off my beard from December. I had a beard for all December, and then I did the same thing you did. I shaved it into a mustache, and I walked out into the other room, and my wife was like, stop. Turn around. And so I was like, stop. All right, we'll recreate that for TikTok, for Instagram. But she was like, the second she saw it, I was like, what do we? And she's like, no, here's what we know. We know you cannot do that.
That's funny.
None of the characters that the big furry eyebrows and the bushy mustache has is ever like the only guy who could ever pull that off, ever, was Tom Selleck.
The mustache? Oh,
no. The big furry brown mustache with the brown eyes.
Yeah.
You can have blonde mustaches, gray mustaches. Mm-hmm. I think you can have red mustaches. I've seen that. But when it's dark brown, you need to have the big bushy brown mustache. It's Tom Selleck. Like, that's the only one I could think of. Like, everybody else is like, draws too much attention.
Justin, if you and I don't go for Halloween as Mario and Luigi, it's a real missed opportunity.
I am definitely your Luigi, my friend. Holy shit!
Okie dokie.
That's so funny,
so the robbers broke into Kira's panic room, and
Jared Leto and Forrest Whitaker.
Was that Jared Leto?
It is Jared Leto, and he's got cornrows. Boy, now if Jared Leto had cornrows in a movie, people would be like, "Hey, man, that's misappropriating my culture, please."
Bro,
Taylor needs a Hercule Poirot mustache. That's coming next. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'm trying to age gracefully into my senator from 1920s. Who wants the floor?
Do you? I do this with my buddy all the time.
Little round glasses.
I love that Atlantic accent you just did. Like, only actors know that that's an accent's name. The Atlantic. It's halfway between New York or Connecticut and England.
Mr. Ruppel, you will sit down, sir.
It's Justin from the other side of the islands.
There you go. It's Walter Winchell from all the ships at sea. If there's children watching this, they're like, what is they talking about? Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Wow, we just ran right over that. 2024. That's what it is now.
It's been 3 weeks since my kids went to school, and they go back tomorrow. And today has arguably been the worst day of all.
What happened today?
They're in tears. It's like that. Nobody wants we put the Christmas stuff away today. Finally, I broke the tree stuffing down, and we kind of, because we had a few we had parents over for New Year's Eve, but we had like 20 kids in the house. It was, it's going to be a New Year's they're going to remember, and we're all going to try to forget. Like, it was fun, but it was like there was a lot of kids, and it was mayhem. And so I put everything away today, and they're like, I don't want the holidays to be over. I don't want to go back to school. And I was like, oh, you're going back to school. Oh, Daddy needs you to go back. I honestly, dude, I lost my mind today. I lost it. The two of them are fighting over some stupid video game, and I almost took it and hurled it against the wall. I was like, for an hour, I just kept going, girls, stop it. Stop screaming. Stop. Finally, I'm like putting my fist through a wall, screaming, and they're like, you're scaring us. And I go, I hope so. I hope I'm scaring you, because you're torturing me. You're making my life so painful. I don't even know how to deal with this. And so tomorrow morning, you know what I did today? Actually, Jason, this is something you'll use when they go to school. So, over 3 weeks, their bedtime has gone later, and they've slept in later and later, right? Mm-hmm. So tomorrow they have to go back to school. So Correct. Today, at 6:30. I got up at 6 to walk the dog, and at 6:30, I went into their rooms, put the lights on. I said, "You're late for school." And they had like 2 seconds of like trying to get up, and then they were like, wait, no, Dad, we have one more day. And I go, "You do, but this is what it's going to feel like tomorrow. So get ready for it." And then I gave them like 20 more minutes and let them, but they were wide awake by then. I woke them up.
Wow.
So they would sleep tonight.
Do you know what my dad used to do? And because as I got later and later, as the consequences got worse in like teenage years, where if I missed the bus, then I didn't get to, he'd have to drive me to school and then he'd be late for work.
Right.
You know, so like what he would end up doing, and you can do this with a boy, I think, is that it'd be like 6:30. I'd have to be up by 6:30. And at 6:35, if I was not up, one of 3 things would happen. Number one, he would come in with a bucket of water and just dump it on me. Or number 2, because I had a twin bed, he would just walk over and go, "You're supposed to be up 5 minutes ago. You know what's happening," and flip the mattress. Flip it.
I'm doing that. I've taken their sheets and blankets off and just dragged them into the other room and just left them laying on top of the bed without covers. Yeah.
I come in dressed as Thanos and scare the living shit out of Jake sometimes.
Yeah, but how much longer is that going to work, though, Jay? Here's the thing: Jamie's kids are smart and old, and they're like they don't accept bullshit. Like I don't think half of the stuff I could say or do would manipulate your children into doing what I want them to do.
And that's where the violence comes in, Justin.
That's where the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, here was the problem. I was gonna do a big intro, but she's
okay,
welcome back here.
I'll give you the intro. Go ahead.
Seriously, here's what happened. And her manager texted me. They lit me up and they said, "Hey, you don't just start the show with Kira Soltanovich. You bring her in. You're like the host, and then she's the guest." So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the wonderful, the endearing, the super funny, the always perfect Kira Soltanovich.
Oh my God. My computer responded to your mustache as malware.
You know what? That's how you enter a show. That's how you walk into
for another
a show.
20 minutes if you come back with another one of those gems.
That's why she left. She left because she has a writer's room, and she left and she goes, "Hey guys, I need some jokes." And they peppered her with like 20 jokes, and that was the one she chose. It's nice. Really.
So have I ever done your show, the Parents Lounge, and not had technical difficulties ever?
No.
Not once.
No, not one.
There's a handful of you. You, Greg Cromer, who else?
Don the Dragon
Wilson.
The single worst connection.
He's the best, and he's the best person on earth, and he is technically.
The best part about that is that we had Pete Holney pretending to be Steven Seagal, and because he couldn't hear the connection, he thought that it was really Steven Seagal,
really
and there's bad blood there.
And there was bad. We didn't know there was bad blood between Don the Dragon Wilson and Steven Seagal. And Holney went at him, and I was like, "Well, you might want to go soft on him." But then all of a sudden, it got ugly, and then it was funny.
I love that.
Welcome back, Kira. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So your children, my dude, tonight the bit I did was that tonight's Christmas Eve for me because tomorrow all my dreams come true and my kids go back to school. Oh. Your kids are still out for the rest of the week?
Until 2025.
Wow, that's a long break.
Wait,
Teachers Union really got what they wanted, which was not to work at all. You know, it's too long. It's too long. I even think Hanukkah at 8 days is too long. I think Hanukkah should be one day. It should be like a bank holiday, a Monday off, and that's it. But we have 3 weeks, 3 weeks total.
Yeah. You know what I do love about Hanukkah, which I think Christmas should use, is to dole the presents out one at a time, because my kids opened all their presents within like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then to the point where they didn't really know what they had. So like New Year's Eve or something, I started to put the Christmas presents away because we were having some people over for New Year's Eve. And I had my kids help me put it away. And my kid was like, "Oh my gosh, where did this come from?" And we were like, "You opened it Christmas morning, jackass." Mm-hmm. And that was, yeah. So I think the one present You should honestly, we should do one present a week from like Thanksgiving to Christmas or something, like every 4 days or something. Give him something.
Well, I have a kid that he's a December kid, December 22nd.
Oh, that's my
Oh.
sister.
So when he was really, really little, imagine you invite, 15 friends, a dozen friends, and they all bring a gift. And then he's opening all of those. And then on Christmas. So what I did so that I wouldn't raise a douchebag, spoiler, it didn't work. But when he was
Spoiler, it never does.
no, when he was really little, he didn't know. I would give him one birthday present a month.
That's
Oh.
genius, yeah. Or I would
And
just have his
then-
birthday in July or something.
Well, yeah, sure, you could do that. Like he's Jesus, I get it. Like you flip him, flop him, I gotcha.
Mhm.
But I would tell the parents, hey, if you don't get a thank you card from us, it's because we might open your gift in August. But then it was like a surprise bin that he could reach into, and all of a sudden, he has a
Right.
new toy.
Wait, so he had a bin of gifts and he got to just choose one once a month?
Like
Every
the
month
dentist.
he would open
Like
up
the
a present.
dentist.
He had one of those claw machines, and she puts all the presents in there, and then she goes, "Hey, Saturday morning, take a crack, $5."
She knows that she writes the rules, man. That like there is no set of laws that say anything. She gets to make it. Jamie, you could do that too. You could.
There are laws because I've tried to break them. I used to do when I was single. My family, we would do Christmas in the middle of January. Flights were way cheaper. We'd save a ton of money. I would work through the holidays bartending, make a ton of money. January, everything dies. All the family would come home in January, and we'd have a weekend together and celebrate Christmas. And it was who cares? It's our Christmas. It was the best thing ever. But now, no way, man. It's like, can we have Christmas in a worse time of the year? It's like the storms, the flights, the travel. It's like, what if we put the busiest travel day during the worst weather of the year? How would that work? Train wreck. Absolute train wreck.
That's exactly right.
That's why I wish I was Australian, because Christmas is in the middle of summer.
Dude,
Oh,
Yes.
that's right.
well, Jamie, didn't you go to the snow for Christmas?
Yeah, I do what I'm told. And honestly, it's funny. We went to Park City. There wasn't even that much snow. Mammoth is bone dry right now. There's no snow. There's no snow because nobody got buried with snow. So, yeah.
Well,
so they
we're
had
going to-
some snow. Some of the places were open, but it wasn't like the whole mountain was not buried in snow.
We're going to
Yeah.
Tahoe in a couple days, so fingers crossed we get.
I know we talked about it. Are you excited for your trip?
Listen, I have to lecture the kids to be like, we're spending a lot of money. I don't want any fighting. I don't want any arguing. I don't want it. Like, you have to give them the grounder. Of course, they're going to forget all of them and break all of them. But I'm literally going to, if they do something to annoy each other, or I'm going to start charging them.
Mm.
I'm going to start charging them. I fronted all of this money for this vacation. And if you do something that goes against what we're doing, I'm going to charge you.
How are you going to enforce
For
that?
infraction. What's that?
Well,
How are you going to enforce it? Because I like this idea. Take me
Jason
through this.
dips his quill. Yeah.
Your kids are too young, though.
And they're lawless feral heathens, so they also don't care.
you're charging your kids. Are your kids earning money that we don't know about?
Well, they get money. They get money for birthdays. They get money for Christmas. They get money. They have money.
Remind me
look
the
what grandma
age
got
range.
you, and I'll take that.
What's the age range of your kids?
8 and just turned 13.
Yeah.
See, it's so
So-
funny because when I was 8 and 13, I didn't respect vacations because there was no sense of working,
Mm.
So there was no now as an adult, when you've been busting your ass for a long period of time and you get to do some time where you're not busting your ass, you're like, thank God. But kids, they're 99.9% of their day and life is unconsequential for the most part. So a vacation doesn't even register, right?
This is gonna be horrible to say, and I'm sure some people are gonna light me up for it. But the vacation time I go away with my children is much less enjoyable than the time I go away to work and do stand up.
I would rather have dental surgery than take my children on a trip.
I just, and I wish. I mean, what about the parents who are watching? Am I crazy? It's listen, you're making, and everyone's like, oh, you're making memories for your children, and that's absolutely true. And it's pretty, listen, there are moments of glamour and brilliance and heartwarming. They're there. They're few and far between, but overall, it is an arduous journey through slogging your way through this tragedy where you've paid for. By the way, skiing, Kira, it's more expensive than Disney and more pain. Like, it's way worse than I used to think Disney was the worst thing on earth. I can hate Disney.
I hate Disney.
2 hour to sit in a line for an hour in a hot sun to wait for like a 30-second ride. The whole premise is just, unless you were like super rich and you could rent the whole park out by yourself, that would be fantastic. Like Michael Jackson, although not like Michael Jackson. That has its own problems. But skiing is, and honestly, the slopes now with snowboarders and skiers and different levels all flying. I mean, it's not only perilous, it's really expensive. You've not only got to get your own boots on and your own ski pants and your own ski gear, then you've got to get it on your kid. Then you've got to get your kid to I can't even tell you.
Awful.
Hey, by the way, have fun.
I don't know why I'm doing it.
Have fun.
Listen, here's what we found, though. So here's what we found. We found this little resort with one hill. One. And there's no ski lift.
Mm-hmm. It won't be crowded whatsoever.
It's some pole you put between their legs and it drags you by your crotch up a hill.
It's a rope tow. That's what I grew up on in New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. It's a little rope tow. Yeah.
Yes. And so cool. There are no professional douchebags. There are no snowboarders that are like, watch out, I'm ripping a curl or whatever they say. I don't know what they say. But there's nothing. It's literally for little kids and beginners.
See, all the parents are agreeing. Jen says, you're not crazy. Vacations are not really relaxing. Kids want to be, and if they're bored for 2 seconds, and that's why, like, you put your kid on the iPad and then people look at you like you're a bad parent. You're like, dude, hey, can I have an hour off today? Just one hour for me. Couldn't care less at this point. And then
those people don't realize that if I don't give my kids a tablet, it's going to ruin their meal.
It ruins everybody's meal. My kids today was so painful.
We don't allow it in restaurants. I am strict. I will say I am strict in that sense.
I will tell you. I will tell you this much. You're as somebody who has a vivid memory of my childhood. My parents took us on vacation a lot. Those memories are like not there. What is there is the stuff at home. What we did every night, the stuff that was beaten in by repetition. Like I know my parents because I have pictures. They took us to Disneyland and Disney World all the time, but I don't remember that shit. What I remember is, yeah, nice.
Sorry to interrupt, but I've heard a lot of different ones, but Gomez Adams, that's the first I got. That's a good one.
If Gomez Adams was born in Ireland, yeah.
It's Gomez O'Malley.
Gomez O'Malley.
Hey, O'Malley. Gomez O'Malley here.
Where's the O'Malleys?
So you're kind of ruining the premise.
You don't even remember your vacations with your parents?
What I'm saying is, like, I have pictures of them. I have pictures of, like, oh, look, we went to the beach.
Right.
Or, oh, look, we went to Disneyland. But if you're asking me to access like the 12 or 16 memories you have before you're like 14,
right?
The vacations, I hate to tell you, are not the ones that are saved. The ones that are saved are the stuff like the stuff that happens at home, or the stuff near the house, like the family meals and the game times and the stuff that doesn't cost a lot. It's the vacation shit that's constantly causing you guys stress. I don't remember that shit at all. Like,
interesting, because mine are flopped. I've tried to block out every day at home.
My father never took. We went on like a couple of vacations. I think in my whole life. He never took me to a
there were like
game.
7 kids, right?
I'm the youngest of 6. By the time I came along, he was like, "Look, dude, I got nothing left. I got nothing left, brother."
That makes sense.
I'm just saying, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself, because, like, as I had, besides my parents' divorce, it was still a good childhood. Like, I had all the gifts under the tree and all the vacations,
Right.
But that's not what was the, like when we sit around today as adults and share like the stories of our past, it wasn't vacations for the most part that we talk about. It was like the stuff at home, like the fun.
Let me ask you this as well, Kara, about like obviously I think everyone can agree that the time that your kids are home is it's painful. It's you're trying to get other stuff accomplished, but also the financial stranglehold that is put on us around this time of year. It brings me so much pain and stress to like everyone has to get tipped out, and my kids they have to do this, and I go, well, we're spending money we don't have. Is that but it's okay because she has to have this bracelet maker, because otherwise how would we get through Christmas? And so like they still, like we said, we're gonna go light because we're going skiing, so they're only gonna get a few presents. We told them, said, this is your present. And then we still got them 100 presents, where I'm like, really? Like just so much money out. Am I crazy?
Because if you don't get them a ton, then you feel like, oh no, I didn't get them enough.
I don't.
What's wrong with me?
I
do.
You see the honesty in his face?
Oh, I don't. Well, listen. There's a couple things, but there was they opened some things from Santa, and I was like, well, we don't need that. That's not that's not helping anybody at this point.
I had somebody say something weird. They had looked at the pictures of our Christmas tree and had made the comment, "Wow, you guys got your kids a lot of presents this year." And I was like, "Did you count how much we had?" And they kind of
people do.
They counted how many presents were under our tree, and
how do they know? They don't know what's for grandma and grandpa, and a neighbor, and
what we've stolen. What there's nothing in it all. Like there's a lot of variables.
I will give you guys a little tip if you want to wean your kids off of Santa, believing in Santa. I don't know how you feel about that. My 8-year-old still believes. But slowly I make the presents not just from mommy and daddy or whatever. I make them from like stuffed animals in our house. So like it'll say to Claire from her sheep. I put her sheep's name.
I do feel like Walter the Seal would be a pretty good gift giver here.
And then Steve from accounting. So just made up people.
Which is going to be great, because then when she's online, some guy named Steve's going to go like, "Hey, Claire, you want to talk?" And she's going to go, "Oh, are you the Steve who got me the Christmas present?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's me."
Thank you for the earrings. Yeah.
And he'll have this exact mustache, and he'll be like,
"Listen,
yeah."
I'll tell you if it worked or not. Again, I don't know if it's going to work, but there's an owl that lives in our tree outside in our backyard, so I put one of the presents from the owl in the tree.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because then you'll just be like, and then someday you'll be like, you know how our dog gave you that present? Same thing.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh, yeah.
The elves we had
maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is the wrong choice.
No, it's genius.
My hair is sticking up.
Here was the hardest part of traveling the week before Christmas is the elves had to travel. Yeah.
You guys do that shit? You seriously do that?
You don't have a say in it, brother. I mean, you don't have a say. It's like the death march of Bataan. You either lay down on the side of the road and die, or you just keep marching. You can't stop the death march of Bataan. You got to go.
No,
just take one foot in front of the other and going. Yes, Jason.
Jamie, did I tell you about I came down the one morning and the twins had gotten a hold of the elves and they had them held down on the ground and were beating the elves with soup cans?
I didn't hear that, but I like that a lot.
And I was like, well, the Christmas magic is certainly gone from them for the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't do elf on a shelf. I told my kids no. They asked for it.
Fuck that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then they go to school and all the other kids have it, and then they come home and they go, "No, it doesn't Santa love us?"
Yeah. And I said, Mommy's from a Soviet country and I don't want, communist country. I don't need anyone else keeping an eye on me. And,
see, one more pro for communism. I mean, please. A lot of negatives about communism. This is one of the few pros I've heard. I really think it's,
What, the added suspicion? Yeah.
I don't want anyone watching me in my house.
Gotcha.
That's why we left.
You're right. I think we're right at the cusp of knowing and changing, because the older I think is already just playing along, which is almost even more annoying, because at some point it's like, look, do I have to keep this up, or can we be? Just tell me the truth, so we. Because it's even crappier if I'm doing this for nothing. Like, that's really even more painful to go like, wait, you've known for 3 years? Why wouldn't you tell me?
God, I
Happy New
I
Year.
don't
Happy New
I
Year.
am. I swear to God, you guys. Some days I love this Tuesday night for us because it's the best part of the mental health for me.
Some days. How about every day?
Because I get to hear all the things I could never have imagined dealing with ever.
Yeah. Hey, how about enough?
I like the elves. I like the elf stuff.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Listen, at that age, it's actually okay, because the kids are still asleep early. What happens, all of a sudden your kids start staying up later than you do, and that's a problem. Then we got a real problem, Frankie, because all of a sudden I got to set alarms at 3 a.m. to go up and do shenanigans. Enough children. A Happy New Year. Let's talk about us for a second, because pandemic, strike, finally, it feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm very excited for 2024. Have you guys, are you guys New Year's resolutions people?
No,
Kira?
I'm gonna schlep through like usual.
Any changes, Kira? Any changes on the horizon?
I pick a new resolution out of a box every month.
Every month?
I'm kidding. I was
gonna say, is that a communist thing again? What's happening?
I was going to call back to my kids' presents.
Yeah, it was your kids' presents. Yeah.
I don't do like resolutions because I hate that feeling of dang it. You know, like I didn't get the thing done that I wanted to get done. So I just procrastinate until it's too late, and then I do the thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Jobo, our buddy Jobo says my resolution is to say blanket more often, which I made that resolution many, many years ago, and I have stuck with it. That's actually one of the few I've held on to for a very, very long time. The F it more often. Unfortunately, it's tough when you have a family, because you say F it, and then your wife's like, no, we're not effing that. And you go, okay, I guess I won't F that one then. And that's something that's...
It's so funny being the wife on this episode today, because I'm like, God, is that how my husband feels, where I just say something and he's like, I guess I have to do it.
Listen, let me tell you, Jamie speaks for only Jamie. Okay.
Who else would I speak for?
As the weirdo on the podcast, I don't even identify with any of this. I literally just love listening to it, because at this point, you're describing holidays that make no sense. We went to Vegas for Christmas.
I used to go.
Yeah.
Fine, like if you're into the Antichrist.
Yeah, totally.
I used to go to Vegas when I was single, or with a girlfriend or something, for Christmas. Yeah, it was super fun. Actually, I used to go to 3 movies a day, because Christmas Day was the big opening. So back in the 90s, we would go like Christmas Day with a bunch of friends. We'd see a bunch of movies, go out to dinner. It was pretty great.
I know.
It was pretty great.
There's so much pressure you guys are putting on yourselves that is so unnecessary. I'm so sorry.
Wait, yeah, you have to. Justin, are you a New Year's resolution guy?
No.
At all?
No, never.
Move and shake. Jason, no? Yes?
No, I'm barely hanging on. You know that.
I am actually. I'm a big fan of New Year's resolutions. They're not like all out, like I'm going to change the world or something, but there are goals I think I reach. Do you set goals on a yearly basis? Like, I remember when I first moved to Hollywood and I started acting, I was like, this year I'm going to book a national commercial or something. And then the next year I was like, I'm going to book a guest star. Like, I would have professional goals of like, I want to get on late night set. I wanted to do Montreal. Like, there were certain things that were maybe not resolutions, but maybe more annual goals that I would approach. No,
that's
nobody?
Smart. That's good.
Until they don't come in, and then you're like, I really want.
Well, no. Here's the thing: is that every time that's a really good idea, You know, like I have set some goals, but I don't think I've ever attached them to a year. You know, like it always felt arbitrary to me.
Yeah.
Like and what I did do is just what you did, Jamie, except had less a time frame. Because if what I ended up happening is from my 20s and 30s, early 30s, I was like, I've got to hit by this time. I'm going to be on just like you said, I'm going to get a late night set. I'm going to be on this. I'm going to get on this commercial. And then when that went past,
Yeah.
I ended up sounding like one of those assholes that no one wanted to talk to at 27, who was like, "Yep, well, I just don't have much to look forward to. I already missed my opportunity to be Eddie Murphy." You know, you're like, wow.
Well, I think like especially like an album or something. Like I remember.
Did anybody see that? Did it just pop up on my?
I saw it.
That was a weird bubble.
How did that happen?
I
Oh
didn't
my
see it. What
God.
happened? I looked away for a second.
I
It
went
was
like
a
this.
weird bubble.
There was like a weird thumbs up bubble that happened on his.
Oh.
There it is.
Who's doing that?
I am when I go like this.
It's so weird.
Oh,
It's only you. Again, social media. That's one of my goals. One of my New Year's resolutions is to figure out how to work Facebook.
yes.
Facebook?
I tried to post something on Facebook earlier and I couldn't. It wouldn't let me close caption. I was like, "Why can't I close caption on this thing?" I couldn't find it. And I showed it to Justin. He's like, "Yeah, I've never seen that before." I was like,
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm shadow banned. Like Olivia Dunn came out. All of a sudden, some of her posts didn't get as many. Like a couple of her TikTok posts didn't go over 1 million views within like 3 hours. And she came out with a press release saying she had been shadow banned by TikTok or something for something.
Olivia Munn?
Olivia, the LSU gymnast who makes more money by being a college gymnast than all of us combined times 10.
There's money in gymnastics?
When you look like this girl, you do. Yeah. She's
you're a
got
hot
the
gymnast.
NIL sponsorship. She's a TikTok. She's got millions of followers. She's an LSU. She is a really good gymnast, apparently.
That's why my gymnast career never took off.
She's in the national top few of gymnastics, but she's a very attractive young lady, and she has millions. As everyone who's watching this knows who she is. She's pretty famous. Really? Google LSU gym. Well, but that's a funny thing, dude. What did they say in the Brooke Shields documentary back in the 70s and 80s? There were 5 people who were famous that everybody knew. And now there are 1 million people who are famous that none of us know.
Oh God, that's hurtful.
Well, I just asked
you guys are not New Year's resolutions people whatsoever. That's crazy.
You know why? Let me tell you why. So last year, I was it last year? I can't remember now. Okay, the year before last, Olivia Dunn. Okay, done.
Not to be confused with Olivia Munn.
No, I wrote. Someone called me, randomly, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to write for Wanda Sykes for this TV show?" I could never have put that in a resolution. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that happen in our industry that are so random and weird and bizarre.
You just nailed it. You just nailed it.
Can't really. You can just say like, "Hey, I want to, do better than I did last year," or do something new and book something that I've never done, or whatever. I can think in those terms. I can't do resolutions because so many random things just happen.
Well, sure, of course, and you take them as they come. But I think in your own creative world, to go like, all right, I'm going to write a 1-hour special, or I'm going to do this my own. What doesn't have to be even stand-up wise. It could be, I'm going to get into yoga. I'm going to, learn Spanish. I'm going to learn an instrument.
These are all reasons why you're more successful than me, Jamie. That's
Probably.
Well, I also have 20 years on you, but over the next 20 years, who knows what's going to happen for you?
You were more successful 20 years ago than me too.
You could be a successful gymnast, Justin.
Right.
I'm just excited for this year because the last few years were, like a giant speed bump in any actor's and comics career. And also I have 2 little speed bumps that took a 10-year hiatus out of my touring schedule. So I think I'm planning to hit the road more. Jason and I are talking about and, doing some road gigs. And so I think my kids are at an age now where it would be easier for me to go out on the road and
I just stopped caring.
Get back into my stand-up world. It was funny. I was reading something about stand-up, and it's funny because Kira, I used to be on stage 6 nights a week with you. Like we'd be up every night of the week, and then I had the kids, and my wife traveled a lot for work, so I basically was like, well, look, I'll stay home. And so I just stopped even going out for like a Tuesday night to do a 15. Which, by the way, I see you still out, and I'm like, I'm so in awe of your work ethic. Like you're on stage, like writing and performing, and it's kind of. Although nowadays the kids that blow up, I feel like are just doing TikTok sets or whatever. But I definitely want to get up and do more and do real
They're not
stuff.
just doing TikTok; they're working like Kira, and they're editing it.
Some are obviously some of the more successful people, but yeah.
Sure.
But I think it was therapy for me. Like it was my way of therapy. And now I'm like a steam kettle that needs to get on stage to blow because if I need a vent. And honestly, this show has been a huge part of me venting. Obviously, I think people can see that. But I miss.
We can feel that.
Yeah, can you feel it? So
I charge you a copay for this.
Yeah, that's right. My insurance is having some issues, by the way, running that through. But
yeah, I noticed. That's why I got a hold of your employer.
Well, let me do this then. I wanted to run this by you guys. This is what we'll end on because I read this article, 100 tiny changes to transform your life, from the 1-minute yoga rule to the pajama yoga. And maybe you guys can come up with some lifetime hacks because although we are, I'm never like a strict, like I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do this or whatever. I'm, kind of living life. But I do think there are things, and I was reading through this, and some of these I have lived by, and it has made my life so much better. Number one, not setting a morning alarm. I truly believe that every morning the alarm wakes you up and shocks you. I think it takes 6 days off your life. I think that the pain of an alarm clock. Number one life change for narcolepsy says underwear. Do not neglect it. Well, yes, underwear. No, don't skimp on underpants for sure.
Jamie, Jamie, it's really. I totally love what you just said. I don't wake up with an alarm clock either.
I don't either.
And you know what's interesting? The only time I do is if I have to make a flight that is such a ridiculous time that my body's like, you're gonna sleep past this.
And what happens? Like whenever I set that alarm, I can't sleep.
And then
finally I'll sleep a little bit and my eyes will open 2 minutes before that alarms are supposed to go off because my brain has a crazy time clock in it.
Over the years, I've come to realize that 45 minutes or an hour is just, I'll take it. I'll take it if I can get it. So I'll still set the alarm, but you're really smart to do that because, and we all live in, sorry, Jason, I forgot. I was going, we all live in Los Angeles, right? Where the sun's always
dying. We're under this bunker.
Yeah, I know. But like being in a sunshiny place does help where you're like, because when the sun comes up, that lizard part of your brain goes, all right. So you're never really late to getting up. I don't think. I don't sleep in anymore. My brain won't let me sleep past like 9.
Yeah. Of course, we have jobs that we don't have to be at.
Oh my God.
I get up at 5:30 every morning.
The sun until April now.
9 is a sleep in, Kara. That's what I'm saying. 9's a sleep in. That's that's a max.
7 for me is a sleep in.
7's a sleep in.
Yeah. Listening to classical music.
Oh yeah.
In the background. Do you do that, Kira? What do you do? Do you listen to music or TV? Like I always have something on in the background because I'm afraid of being alone with my own thoughts.
Oh, me.
You're not going to believe this, and you might think I'm an absolute lunatic. I listen to comedy.
What's wrong with that? I do that all the time too. All the time.
You're just stealing bits. I get it. You're just
Yeah.
I'm
going to go steal Dave Chappelle's. Well, like, okay, so I was doing, stuff around the house, and I had Chappelle's
Dreamer.
news. I wanted to listen to it.
Yeah.
I won't discuss it if you guys haven't listened to it because I don't want to.
I watched it twice already. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched the last long story. That part where he goes, I got a long story for you.
That's the only watchable part, in my personal opinion.
Okay, so we agree.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Sorry. I know. Go.
No,
Disappointing.
I don't think he's the best stand-up of all time. I think I love watching him, and I think he's a wonderful performer. But a lot of times I go, "Wow, I haven't laughed in 30 minutes." But I don't know if it's for me. But I think he's a philosopher, and I agree with a lot of his stuff. But although the last couple specials, I know he's been lit up. But yeah,
And I have nothing against the I bring the funny trans jokes. Like, I love that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be a comic because we get to say controversial things. It wasn't like offensive. That's not the reason I'm kind of I just thought it God, I'm gonna get canceled just for talking about Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
I thought it was lazy.
I can see that. Here's what's so funny to me about being when I go to give criticism as a stand-up, and I think you're doing this. You feel the same thing I'm feeling right now, which is like,
I feel awful saying that, by the way.
It's hard to yeah, you just said it. I feel awful to say anything in negative about any comic because there's a feeling of like, I don't want to say that. But yeah, there are specials that I really love, and then specials that I'm like, all right, okay. Like, I just saw Gary Goldman's new special. Loved Gary Goldman's new special.
So good.
Great.
I loved that.
But it's a very, very different style. And I listen
Different
to, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, like, I listen to like classic rock or some, I also believe in like some classical music, but that's kind of what I have in my earbuds. You know what I mean? As I'm driving, I listen to
It's
a
so funny.
special, like it's a podcast, you know, I'm driving.
Yeah. I listen to more talking than I listen to music. I listen to a lot of, I love that there's certain specials that are like music to me. Like there are, for example, Patton Oswalt's 222. If I have somewhere to drive, I listen to that. I probably listened to that single special
So
maybe 50 or 60 times.
I never
listened to
have. For some reason, I'm afraid of similar thought. Like this, like here's the problem. I love Burr. When I used to go see him all the time, and then we're both like guys in our 50s, redheaded Irish maniacs from Boston. So every time I think of something, part of me is like, wait, did Burr do a bit about that? So I never watch Burr because I'm afraid. And I just started Ricky Gervais the other night because I'm such a huge fan. And after 4 minutes, I was like, that's a bit I thought about. And I was like, and I turned it off because I was afraid.
But don't you want to know what's out there?
No. I don't know why.
See, now
it's so weird. I'm like, I think I'm the weird one because I think
you are the weird one because you and I totally disagree on this. You and I totally disagree on this. Listen, I had this argument with one of my buddies who thinks like you, who said the same thing. He was like, look, man, you can't watch it because then you might go in the same direction or you might start to sound like them, right?
Sure.
And my argument is, why do you think the Beatles were the Beatles? Because they were in a place in time where all these innovative musicians were playing and they got to hear them.
Sure.
So they got to hear American jazz. They got to hear the British pop movement or the punk movement, all this stuff that they took in to make this great new thing. In order to make the cool new stuff, you kind of have to be like just what Kira's doing, like listening to everybody.
Sure.
So then what comes out of the sausage maker is guaranteed original, because you're like, no, I've never heard this motherfucker or anybody say anything like what's coming out of my head because I've listened. And
I can listen to some. Like I watch some of Goldman's. I just always have loved Gary Goldman.
Me too.
Yeah,
he's
great.
I mean, he's just so good.
He's just a wordsmith. I mean, he's just a prolific writer.
He's today's Carlin, but honestly, the jokes are actually kind of better jokes. I will say
this. This is going to be harder to say because most people disagree with this. I can get something out of every special, right?
Sure.
I can get something.
I agree.
I got the end of his special yesterday, Dreamer. I got a lot out of the last 15
I haven't watched that part yet.
Just because it was kind of like talking to comics or people who made some sort of big life dream goal.
Right.
Because as he started the special, I'm not ruining it. As he started the special, he's like, this is where Killing Him Softly was filmed. And Killing Him Softly, in my personal opinion, is probably one of the single best full spectrum specials. And to hear, as he had said, I had to convince people to come in here.
Yeah.
it was a nice moment to me
Right.
as a 40-year-old. Wait a second. You mean the GOAT, right? The guy who's getting paid the most in our industry. The special I quote all the time is like the great one. And he's gotten, no offense, that was the best he's done, and that's what I'm saying. You made the greatest, and yeah, you got to reach up to that. But my point is, even back then, the one that I thought where he dropped the mic originally and like he came out and he was no. He was beforehand like, could you please come to the show? Please, I'm begging you. I need people to come to this show.
Yeah.
So that was the message I took. I'll forget the rest of the comedy. But there will be a lot of specials like that from people that I'm,
I love watching Chappelle. I'll still always watch it.
I do too.
But I just feel like, come on, you are, like you said, one of the greatest, the most paid, and it needs to, specials still need to be special. I feel
maybe
like
people
special.
make it, it's like a band where you're like, their first album's fantastic and the second album's not. It's not that easy. It's really hard. It's really hard to put an hour of like Chris Rock's Bigger and Blacker. It was like one of the greatest hours I've ever seen. Where
One
I was
of the best.
blown away, and it's hard to repeat that.
Let me ask this as a comedy and artist question, because I love just talking to you guys. Are all incredible artists. Let me ask this, and this is I don't even want to ask this question. The specials that we mentioned as the great ones are also the point in flex in that artist's career where it was go for broke, or the audience at large, the media had told them you can't do it anymore or whatever. There was an inflex moment, like the best special that somebody does also comes with this horrible desperation. Is it that when you get too big and there's no dragons left to slay, no uncomfortability left, can you still make that really cool finger on the pulse thing?
I don't know. It's polar. It's weird. And he was saying that those guys always crushed Pryor. I mean,
no, they didn't always crush.
I didn't think so either. There's a Pryor one, and Pryor's my favorite comic of all time. And one of his later specials, I was like,
There was a later special that didn't crush, and also we all heard the story of the first night of Live on Sunset.
Yeah, they had to shoot it again.
They had to shoot it again. He died on stage. And Carlin, in his later years, has been discussed on many a comic podcasts. When he had a residency in Vegas, it was shit.
I saw Kinnison in Vegas, and it was hard. Listen, it's a tough medium, man.
Yes, it's the toughest.
It's lightning in the body. Yeah, it's hard.
The toughest. That's why I love listening to it more than it's like classical music. It really is like.
It's so funny that you listen to that. I get it. I get it. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. I'm going to listen to.
Hold on, now I got to know. But hold on, before we leave this, Kira, what specials do you go back to? Are there any specials you go back to and like listen to that like it is music?
I mean, honestly, a lot. I'll listen to Attell's "Skanks for the Memories" over and over and over again.
Or as I like to call it, time travel.
Yeah.
And you're banging the girl on the fry later, and they say she's dim, but them titties are dim.
It's definitely the most quoted in my house. My husband and I will quote it, Terry that lives in my eyebrow, or find a friend who can keep a secret. Just we quote that one the most. But of the newer ones, Bill Burr at Red Rocks.
Yep.
Was great. And you know what? I'm not a white Irishman with flaming red hair, but he and I also have a similar bit that I'm glad I saw him do, so that I know, hey, let me just adjust mine and make it even more personal, because I want to make sure that no one ever thinks that I, maybe saw his and was like, oh, that's a great premise, because it's 100%.
All right, that's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to watch more specials.
Yeah,
I watched Bo Burnham 3 times. That's my favorite of all time.
Which special? Which special?
Inside.
Oh,
Inside.
yeah.
The one during the pandemic. I loved it. But it's music.
That's God level. That's like guy's. That's the closest we're going to get to Kaufman, I think.
So good.
Of our generation.
Here's the other resolutions. Well, here's the other little things. Leave my phone downstairs at night.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
That was the one I was like, I don't think anybody's doing that. But it would.
I mean, sure, it would be game changing, but it's never gonna happen.
That's
You
so
know,
funny.
My father-in-law's life alert bracelet
Thank you.
is my phone number. Mine.
I could
No one else's,
probably get
not my
away with it.
husband.
I could probably get away with it, but my wife's job, I mean,
No.
you can't have a job nowadays and not be on call 24/7. And I think that that's a real problem in society
Yeah.
where there's no downtime.
No.
You're like, we get text messages. I'm like, what's happening? It's like 11 at night. And then there's another one. It's 5 in the morning. You're like, what's going on? And there's like, oh, so-and-so's on the East Coast. And then, but so-and-so's in Switzerland. And you're like, what is happening? How would Jamie remember the resolutions if the phone is downstairs? One of my resolutions this year is to read more and get off my phone a little more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading more. I
know.
I can't retain.
But what kind of
information
books?
from
'Cause
reading.
I only read parenting books now. Like,
Do you really?
yeah,
That's my
all.
wife. My wife will read like self-help and parenting books, and I'm like, do
If
just
you
pick up a
count
book for
reading
fun?
as like an audiobook, then yeah, I love that.
Yes, I agree. Listen, when I start to read my vision, whatever, I'll audiobook it. I love audiobooks.
I'm dyslexic. I'll just admit it now.
Yes.
At 40-year-old.
I listen to audiobooks quite often. I just finished Martin Short's book.
Oh, how was it?
So good. I really enjoyed
Books
it a
about
lot.
comedians' lives. Holy shit, that's like crack for me.
I
Wait.
highly recommend autobiographies.
I was reading. Actually, I went to the library with my kid. I took my kid. Oh, this is what I did, Kara, during the break. By the way, Narcolepsy says you can set a book goal on Goodreads. I always love. Actually, when my kids were super young, my friend was like, "So here on their Instagram post, like, here's the 20 books I read this year," and I was like, "Here's the 4 books I read 5,000 times this year." Dragons Love Tacos. it was like the 5 books. I was like, if I read this book again, I'm going to kill somebody.
Hey, can I say this? Because you guys are all parents. You know what's really funny? I don't remember what gift I got from like a certain age, chunks to chunks, but I know every book by heart that my parents used to read to me. Like,
see, you're some sort of weird unicorn.
Yeah,
because,
you're in a weird unicorn.
Yeah.
Weird unicorn.
Nobody remembers that.
I
Bullshit.
went.
I remember all of them.
I took my kids last week to the public library in Studio
Attaboy.
City.
You were
We went to-
desperate for stuff to do.
I'm desperate to make them read. And so what happened is with the
My kids weren't
iPad,
even allowed back to the library.
it was reaching a point. They were like, they burned it. There is no library. His kids burned the library down, by the way.
Yeah, they did. They pissed on the ashes.
My kids were trying to use the iPad constantly, just losing their mind. So I said, here's the deal. I'll go 1 for 1. 1 hour reading, and I'll let you use the iPad for an hour. And that's what we did for like a week. And so they would run to their room and be gone and set a timer, read for an hour, whatever. If they were reading, I don't know if they were really reading or just staring at a book. And then I'd let her play on the iPad for an hour. And that was the best parenting I could get away with.
All right, you do what you can.
I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to desperately to make them read. It's
You're
crazy.
better than most, bro. You're better than most.
It sucks because it makes my life horrible. It makes my life.
He's such a sunshine.
Here's one of my pet peeves. It goes, and this is one of the things. It goes following the 1 minute rule. If there's a task I can do in less than 1 minute, just do it. Like I try to tell my kids, touch everything once. Like even today, my wife opened like a box, and instead of throwing it in the trash, she
Are you
did.
saying that to Kate too?
Yes, it's to everybody in general. Touch everything once.
Touch it one time.
Like if you go through your bills and you pick up a bill and you go through your bills and you go, all right, I'll take care of this one later. No, you're doing your bills. Do the bill right now, dude. Because then you'll come back the next day and there'll be another stack of and you go, well, I'll take care. It's like it drives me insane. My kids do it all the time. Dude, so yesterday in the freezer, empty box of Uncrustables. I gotta throw that. I go into the garage, the freezer in the garage. There's an empty box of Trader Joe's ice cream treats. They'll go.
That actually might have been me.
Yeah, that was you. There was an Uncrustable wrapper on the couch where you're like, did you eat an Uncrustable wrapper on the couch? I go, and she goes, yeah. I go, did you just leave the wrapper on the couch? She goes, yeah, I'll go get that. You're creating work. Just do it.
Bro.
You know what? Can one of your resolutions be stop feeding your kids Uncrustables?
Trust me.
I was about to say.
Wasn't me, but yes.
Get them off the couch. Get them 2 jars. I'm going to do a Brian Regan bit. I can't be opening 2 jars.
Is that his Uncrustable bit?
No, he's
Now,
like
back
he
to
has
comics.
the bit. He has the bit. He's like, have you seen the new jar with the jelly and the peanut butter inside? Who's this for? Who's this for? You know, I want a sandwich, but I don't have the time. You throw some croutons in there, you're like, ah, lunch and no cleanup. Can life get better? I submit that I cannot. Ah.
So here's why we bought them. They weren't for eating at home. We buy these prepackaged things, so it's an easy go. Okay, like, because here's what happens. One morning they wake up and it's like, oh my God, we need lunch at like 10 to 8, and I'm throwing them food. And so we had a box of Uncrustables. But what happens is she comes home after school and goes, Uncrustable. And I go, make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But she's the whole thing's falling apart.
I fucking love this. This is the best. Oh. You know those roller? Yeah.
No, go ahead, please, Justin.
This is the part of the roller coaster for me each week where it continues to pick up speed. You know what I mean? I just love listening to Jamie complain. Go ahead, Kara. Sorry.
Okay, so Jamie and I are, we should have a lot more similarities because we're one day apart on the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know anything about.
And our kids are the same age.
Virgos, but
Pretty
we're
much.
both Virgos. And so I get like what you're saying a lot, Amy, but also the whole bill thing and touch everything once, and I get it. Just do it now. I get it. But like I'm not blaming you. We have allowed certain things to continue to go on. And therefore they will just continue to go on.
I'm not sure I'm following everything, but
if you don't want them, let's say, for example, to have the Uncrustables, which are so gross. How do your kids
terrible.
like them?
Because they eat absolute crap.
Okay, but who's buying it?
That's right.
I get it. It was for a specific purpose. It was for to go to. It was like one of the last ditch effort school things and to go. But yes, no, I totally agree.
Is Justin going to just pull out forever for the rest of his life? He just pulls out. Is that what's happening?
Vasectomy.
Which, by the way, that's on my New Year's resolution list as well.
Bro, but also, Kara, I had a good 3-year chunk where I was like, we're trying. And God or the creator or the universe was like, no.
Yeah. Okay. So. I didn't know that part. Sorry. That got personal.
Okay.
And I do want to go back to narcolepsy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Chappelle's special was good. I'm not saying it was not good, but we're talking about a multimillionaire who has money to pay writers if he needs it, and as comics who always strive to have 3 laughs a minute. That's my criticism.
But he hasn't followed that rule in a long time. And even though I've enjoyed watching his specials before, I never laughed 3 times in a minute. Whereas when I watched Gulman, I was like, oh, this is like 6 laughs. I was like so impressed with the laugh. Even watching Gervais the other night, somebody lit Gervais up and said he's not even a stand-up comic. And part of me kind of agreed where he's a performance artist. Did you see his last special though? I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched like the first 10 minutes, which is it really funny?
It's great.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of his. I love everything he touches. But I do think, when you see like Gaffigan or Seinfeld, there's a math to it of like, all right, are there 6 laughs in this minute? If not, I need to punch this up. Yeah, I get that.
Yes, that's what I mean. So anyways, narcolepsy, yes, the Kaufman bit was great. It was. But anyone else,
but somebody also said, and I am also a fan of, dude, if it's funny, I don't care what, we have got to get back to laughing at ourselves. Like no one can take a joke anymore. It's like, it's so hurt. What you said was hurt. Dude, relax, man. If you can't laugh, and I'm trying to teach my kids that every day of like, if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're going to have a rough life. You really need to just throw it away and go, what do I care, man?
Anytime you scratch somebody who's really offended at a joke, I have somebody who needs something in their life to be offended by.
Being friends with Jamie has thickened my skin immensely over the past 3 years, which is
good.
Very helpful.
Good. Now you're like a rhino.
That's the purpose I serve.
Well,
But
also,
listen, I take as good as I get, brother. You know, I take it as good as I get. And honestly, at my age, I won't be around much longer anyway, and you won't have to deal with it. So it's all going to be good.
God, just the
Oh my
shiniest
God, Taylor.
sunshine. The mustache is serving another
Yeah,
purpose.
if you keep eating Uncrustables, it will kill you.
Snidely Whiplash is getting all salty.
Yes. That's a good one too. I hadn't heard that one either. All right, listen, it's 8:10. We've made Kira sit through shenanigans. Kira, thank you for coming to play with us. I have to go because I have to put my kids to bed so that I can get them up at 6 a.m. and get them to school.
Oh my
so
God, I'm
excited
going
for
to be
you, buddy.
celebrating with you, Kaylor, tomorrow.
I'll be over there tomorrow with you, man. We'll smoke cigars.
Is there anything you want to promote, Kira? You have some big shows coming up. What's up for the new year? You're off and running.
I am still on the road with Mr. Tom Papa. I feature for him, and I'm on his podcast now as his sidekick. So Breaking Bread with Tom Papa.
So good.
A ton of fun. We'll have Louis Black on, I believe, in the new year. And I mean, we have a list of great guests and something really fun to look forward to. And then my Instagram is Kira Comedy. I usually just post my stand-up stuff there. So Kira Comedy. I'm not going to put people through the whole Soltanovich part. I think that's rude.
Too much. It's really mean. It's honestly
You've
mean.
been on the show enough times that I type it pretty fluently at this point. I'm pretty good.
Me too. Actually, when I go to type it into my phone, it comes up. My autocorrect already knows it and puts it in.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
My phone knows you.
Oh my God. It's so fun. I put in fire hydrant Kaylor, and it still
pops right up. Yeah, that's exactly right. Oops. You know, when they said AI was going to be bad for us, come on, it's really helping.
It's helping a lot.
It's some great stuff. All right, let's let Kira go, and then we'll get out of here. Kira, thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Love you, buddy.
See you later.
Get her out of here. I'm sorry, Jason, that you had to be part of this whole thing. I'm sorry that you had to do it.
Well, I didn't have a lot else going on tonight.
This was so cathartic. I can't even tell. And this is why, Justin, I really I have New Year's resolutions. I'm going to be on stage more often. I haven't told my wife yet, but we'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Buddy, I'm telling you that you'll feel so much better. Your kids will love you more. Your wife will love you more.
Either that or I really need to get into therapy because I don't.
I recommend that too. I'm in that. You'll love that.
I don't know.
It's great. It's free with your insurance. You got it.
We have a lot of great stuff going on this year. It was kind of great. A little couple weeks off where we played with the kids and did some stuff, but we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Jason, do you want to tell people where they can come find us now?
Yeah, we're live every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Facebook.com/The Parents Lounge, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever the hell it's called now. You can catch new episodes of the audio podcast every Monday and Thursday. They drop about 6 a.m. On iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we have actually a bunch of pretty big guests coming up that I will tease out next week that I've been chatting with her coming on the show. But also we got Jeff Goldblum had a great review for us over the Christmas holiday. I think we have a tape of it. Can we play that?
Yes. I had a mustache ride this Christmas. I had a mustache ride, yes, up in Park City. Yes. I went skiing on a mustache of a man, and it was a very happy man because his kids were going back to school.
Yes. Here's my impression of the stash. Listen, all you guys, narcolepsy, Freddie, Brandon, everybody who's back. Yeah, thank you guys. It's really amazing, and it's good to be back. And Happy New Year to all. We'll talk about I'm so shocked that nobody else has resolutions.
I hate them.
Do you?
I really do. I think it's just.
I haven't. I've also been laying off the sauce a little bit. Well, we'll talk about
just
that.
I'm just a quitter.
So. I'm teasing it. I'm not quitting, but I think I might be retiring for a stretch just to see if I can. Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it.
And that's why I'm excited to have you here, because you and I will be, yes. So,
Goldblum was on the newest episode of What If on Marvel that we watched, and I can't hear him without hearing you now.
Goldblum was?
Yeah.
I know.
And so every time he talks, I'm like, honestly, I think at this point, Justin might be better than the actual Goldblum.
Well, you know what's so funny is that the reason I'm able to do Goldblum is because he morphed from a Eugene Levy, which is so funny. I did Eugene Levy first for my mother for years. Do you remember that movie Serendipity with
of course,
Cusack and Piven?
Kate Beckinsale.
And Kate Beckinsale. Yes. Well, there was a scene in there where Eugene Levy plays the guy who works at a suit department who needs to get a receipt with the girl's name on it. So he comes in and Cusack's like, "What do I got to do to get this receipt?" And Eugene Levy goes, "Well, I do have a monthly quota." And when I heard him do that, and he goes, "We have this purple suit." And that little, like, when I heard him do that, if I had him just go, yes, then it's immediately Goldblum. And so I had caught him from years of doing an infectious disease.
That's funny. Somebody, Narcolepsy said he watched Die Hard on Christmas Eve, and you can guess what voice stood out.
Will tell you this, Mr. McLean. Will not tolerate your impotence any longer. My favorite part of that is it took Narcolepsy. You know what my favorite part is of that whole movie? Is when he does the American accent for a few minutes.
Oh, it's worse than the other one.
Right? But I've memorized how to do his. Here it is. You ready? Here it is. All right. He does all the like no, I have children. Right. No, God, please, no.
He's a British guy doing a German. He's a British guy doing a German guy doing an American accent who's oddly British.
There's no German.
It's so odd. Dude, you have got to put that in your stand-up.
I should.
The whole circular thing of him as a British guy doing a terrible German accent, trying to do a even worse American accent, which oddly does. Oh, and it's a Southern accent. He's got like a Southern drawl or something.
It's so much weird going on in that voice.
The day they shot it, all the people, the cast, the boom guy must have been like, "Is that the way he's going to do it? Let's."
He's sticking with that.
All right, we gotta get out of here, dude. I love you guys. Honestly, put a smile on my face. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. Jason told you where to find us. We're excited for the new year, so thank you for being part of the Parents Lounge, and share with some friends, and make sure we get a lot of parents in here and who can also feel better about their existence. That's it. We'll see you guys soon, and check you next week here in the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.